Good day and welcome to another edition of One-on-One with Swope Health. I am your host, Eric Wesson. Thanks so much for joining us today. As always, we've got a great show planned for you. Joining us today is Marquita Taylor. She is the president of the Santa Fe Area Council. Marquita, thanks so much for joining us today.
As always, Eric, whenever you call, I'm there. So thank you for the invite.
So tell us about Marquita. Where were you born and raised?
Born and raised right here in Kansas City. Lived in the urban core all my life. Went off to school, came back. And it's just home. And that's the way I wanted my life to be. And it's been great.
Okay. Where'd you go to school?
Went to dear old Central High School.
Central Blue Eagles.
Central Blue Eagles. And went to UMKC and then ended up getting my bachelor's and master's degree, my MBA here at University of Phoenix and others. But I've always been a hometown girl.
What was your studies?
My focus is in marketing and communications, but master's in business administration.
Okay. Okay. Go to church?
I do sometimes. When I do slip away, I'll go to a Metropolitan, which is close by my house, Metropolitan, Missionary Baptist, Linwood Hartsfield. Or I do a lot of looking to see what everybody's doing all over town. So, yeah.
Kids?
2 grown daughters and 5 grandkids. And, one lives in New Orleans with 3 of my grandkids. And my other daughter lives here, is principal at University Academy. I'm so proud of her. And my grandsons. So pretty neat little family. It's just me and my husband at home now, empty nesters.
Okay,
so it's pretty great.
I'm gonna know what that's like one day. Yeah. I think I've got about 10 more years to wait, but I'm gonna know what that's like.
Yeah, it's pretty great. It's pretty great.
Is it really? Okay, I can hardly wait.
Yeah, we learned how to share a sandwich. It's a wonderful thing.
You don't have to cut it 4 ways. So. You are the president of Santa Fe. So Santa Fe is doing big things since you've taken over the last few years. So tell us about some of the things going on there.
Wow. I have really, if it wasn't for those neighbors, and I have to say this because it is so true, they are the reason that we've been so successful. And that's because there are neighbors who have committed themselves and want to be in Santa Fe and still live there 60. Some have been there 70 years. As you know, the historical information or the history of Santa Fe being the first planned neighborhood that allowed black people to move into after Thurgood Marshall got the discrimination in housing removed. So Santa Fe's rich. And it still has so many people that may have moved out but still love on it, still want to know what's going on. But those that are still there, I will tell you, there's one block in particular, Victor, which was named after one of the owners, called me to a meeting and say, we want to talk with you. They're that strong, but they're supportive. They're super supportive of what's going on. So we've been able to do some pretty incredible things. It's slow moving, so to me it doesn't seem like it's as much as I would like to see happen, but for the city of Kansas City, Missouri to give us $910,000 to do rehabs on the homes of the people who still live there. I believe the city understands the value of Santa Fe, and we're on the historic register for 2 reasons. One, because of the mansions.
Right.
These are absolute mansions that are still in Santa Fe, but also because of the historical redlining and things that took place. So it's important because of that, but the neighbors are still engaged and excited about it. So when we got the money, it's to rehab those houses, to keep them there, to preserve them in that community. So it's been ups and downs, trying to do this the best way, and it's not always easy being the president and being somewhat of a target to those who may not understand. But at the end, by the time we're finished with all the rehabs, I think a lot of the neighbors will be happy. I'm always looking for more donations to do more. That just takes care of a small amount of the houses that need repairs. There's so many that are in poor shape. There's disinvestment. There's, as in a lot of neighborhoods, but a lot of it is based on not being able to get the dollars to maintain those big houses.
Right.
You couldn't necessarily go to a bank and get a loan because the redlining is still there. So this was an opportunity for them to get some of the repairs done. So always going to look for more so that we can make a greater impact. But it's the neighbors. It is absolutely them and their involvement, and they're asking me, what's next? What's next? We need. So I'm just the vessel. I get to say, okay, my neighbors, and I will have, it's not a surprise to have 50 neighbors at a neighborhood meeting. That's a lot. So I get the opportunity to say, okay, be that advocate, do advocacy work and say, we need this. We can't have it. Why not? What do we need to do ourselves as well? But where can we get support in order to fix the things that are broken in our neighborhood?
And you mentioned the mansions. I think of Alex Ellison's house. I've been in there. It's just fabulous when you look at it. And I'm pretty sure they've done quite a bit of work, renovating the house and bringing it up. So there are historic houses, and that round church, the name
St.
is
Augustine.
St. Augustine. That always escapes me, but it's really historic. And at one time in Kansas City, that was as far as blacks could go, was 27th Street. So to see you all come back and renovate that area and bring it up is really a treasure to see. So I commend you all for doing that. So we talk about the future. What else can we expect to see there? We got the renovations, schools. Are you doing anything with schools in that area or what?
We have not, the closest school, there are no grade schools in the area anymore. The closest school is Central High School. We haven't really done a really great job of reaching out to the school yet. Again, it's not necessarily in Santa Fe, but it's across the street. Might as well be. So I want to do more there. I would love for us the neighbors to do more outreach and actually invite the students in and the faculty invite us in. I would love to do more with the renters. That's really my next challenge. Is Santa Fe now, as a lot of neighborhoods, is almost 40% rental property.
Really?
Because of the larger houses look very attractive. They're being bought. We have very few vacant houses in Santa Fe because they're being bought. We have a tremendous amount of gentrification. The house prices they're selling for $300,000-$400,000.
Wow.
Some of the houses in Santa Fe because they have 5 or 6 bedrooms.
Right.
So that causes a real problem for the neighborhood, the people who are raising their families. Because their house price, if they try to sell, or their taxes and those kind of things are going up because of that. But it's the way of the world. It's what's happening everywhere. So that's another area that I want to try to do as much as we can. We were able to get a tax abatement. Councilwoman Robinson made that happen for us. And Brandon Ellington as well. They agreed to pay for the tax of the blight study that we needed. So we were able to get a tax abatement for Santa Fe for 10 years. And some neighbors were able to take advantage of that and some were not. But we still have that, and it's still an option. So that was a big help. We received some funding from Community Capital Fund to do some small dollar home repair. We have several requests out. Since fund development is what I do, we have some requests out to other foundations to help support us in doing minor home repair. The city has a great program out right now. Councilwoman Park Shaw has been a dynamo when it comes to getting money to the community with her recent $30 million that was that the city is awarding to neighborhoods for crime prevention.
Mm-hmm.
Santa Fe has a lot of crime. You know, you would think about this small area, and
And it's like elderly people.
yes, but we are bordered. Our when you certainly 27th Street to Linwood, Prospect to Indiana, we're in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
So in 2022, we had 10 murders. And it's hard for people to believe and a lot of the neighbors to accept. But it is true. So what we're doing now is, how do we love on our neighborhood? How do we love it ourselves? So we got to get the renters and the homeowners both on board to recognize the importance of Santa Fe. Let's all wrap our arms around each other, preserve what we have. And that's the only way we'll ever be able to eradicate and put the bubble on top of Santa Fe, which what I wish I could do. But that's my next focus. How do I get the renters and the homeowners together and love on what we have?
So you said it's 40% renters?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
That's a lot for
That's a
that
lot.
area.
Mm-hmm.
But the property owners, do they live in Kansas City, or are they outside of Kansas City and come in and buy properties and renovate them and rent them out?
You know, I'm finding both.
Really?
Now, I'm finding there are several people who live in the city, may live in Raytown or other places, but buy up the houses and rent them out. Some take care of them, some don't. We have some that have, one particular one owns about 60 properties in Kansas City
Wow.
and lives in Raytown.
Wow.
So there's a lot of that, but there are some out of state buyers.
Okay. So Alicia Kennedy and a group of attorneys and people from the neighborhood, we're talking about an apartment complex over there. We did a before and after picture before it was well maintained, and then someone else came in that owned it, and it looks like the pits now.
You know, I wasn't brought in to that. I don't know exactly which one that is. I wasn't brought in on that project. But I do know they're on a lot, but there are, I'd say, 5 or 6 beautiful apartment buildings. They don't make them like that anymore, but have really not been maintained. And I understand there's some new owners for one that's off of 28th and Benton, and we're really encouraged by that new owner to bring that building back, because they're beautiful structures, but they haven't been maintained.
Right. And another thing that you're involved in is Satchel Paige house renovation. And that sits right there in Santa Fe. Tell us about that project.
Santa Fe, again, is an amazing neighborhood. You know, we talk about the people who've lived in Santa Fe. You know, we've had Buck O'Neill's houses in Santa Fe, and Reverend Wallace Hartsfield's home, and just a number of people. But we are most pleased to have Satchel Paige's home in Santa Fe, and that's 2626 East 28th Street. It's a beautiful block with beautiful homes, and we're in the midst right now of trying to renovate that house and turn it into a lovely museum. Build some structures on the outside so it'll be a great community space. There will be a small catering kitchen, an event space, and something that the entire community can use and love. There's a group, a nonprofit that's been formed, the Leroy Satchel Paige Family Home. It's a nonprofit organization that I actually sit on as one of the board seats, and working with some dynamic gentlemen who really just want it to happen. That's the only reason that they're involved in this. Nobody's trying to get financial gain. They understand the value. They understand the importance of Satchel Paige and how so many young people don't even know who he was. He is the best. If you talk to the historians in baseball, he was the best pitcher of all time. Not just Negro Leagues, but the entire baseball world. and internationally known. And we've kept that, it's been known but not publicly known as it should be. So we're in the middle of a $7 million campaign to bring this monument, this beautiful home, up and ready for the community to see. We are so glad that his family are engaged in bringing this house back, which that's the icing on top of the cake. They have the memories, they have the stories, they have the a lot of the memorabilia and things like that, and they want that house, certainly the bottom floor, to be museum quality as it was in the 40s and the 50s, so people can see how he lived. And then there's a lot of other things we want to do. We realize it has to be a revenue generator in order to survive.
Right.
So there will be office space for small businesses to be in the facility as well. An office for Santa Fe, which we don't have, and certainly an office for the Satchel Paige Family Foundation. So it's a great project. We are at the very beginning stages of that, trying to find those who want to jump in and help support and bring dollars to this.
So how much of the house is renovated? Because people might be aware that it caught on fire.
Yeah.
It had a lot of damage and just being vacant for so long. So how much of the house is renovated as of today?
Right. None of the house has been renovated yet. When the house was set on fire, we were already in communication with the National Trust of Historic Treasures. They actually I used to work at the Negro Leagues. They gave us a call. And I happened to be the one to take the call. So from that moment, they were engaged and gave us the first $250,000 to put the roof back on it. Let's shore it up. Let's get it safe so that we could start putting money into it to bring it back. So they actually made that all possible. Then Senator Barbara Washington made an initial donation of $500,000, which allowed us to buy the land next to it, do a lot of the environmentals, and get the architectural renderings, all of those pieces, so we'd be ready to make that appeal. So that's where we are right now. We're making those appeals. So.
Okay. So it's moving right along. We can look for something to really kick off within the next couple of years.
Yes, absolutely.
Outstanding. 360.
Oh my gosh, I'm excited to talk about 360. KC360, for those that may not know, is an offshoot, I will say, from Omaha. Omaha had a tremendous amount of crime some 10 years ago or more, and they joined together to form what they call the Empowerment Network. Mr. Willie Barney, who is the executive director and founder, put to work and put together a group of people to say, we can't tolerate this anymore. What all do we need to do? So they took a 360 approach of everything, and that's crime prevention, that's youth, that's housing, that's all of these things that make up and fester crime. So KC Common Good, which is Classy Alcine, said, we want that here in Kansas City. So she sought out Willie Barney in Omaha, went to the conference to find out what it takes. So now we are under contract with Willie Barney, and we've developed KC Common Good. No, I'm sorry, we've developed KC 360 from KC Common Good. There are no less than 40 to 50 different nonprofit organizations every Thursday at 9 o'clock at Rockhurst. And we meet for 1 hour, maybe an hour and 15 minutes to talk about what it's going to take. What do we need? What events do we need to put our forces on? And what do we need to support? Santa Fe is fortunate for a couple of reasons. I was asked a year ago Santa Fe to be the neighborhood initiative. Willie Barney's motto is, there's a neighborhood that you start in, that the social service organizations and others can wrap their arms around and make an impact in. So they called me up and said, we want Santa Fe to be that neighborhood. It wasn't because I was wonderful. It was because of all the crime that Santa Fe had. And the police department is super engaged. They are
They're
at
right down the
every
street.
meeting.
Yeah.
Yes, they are at every KC 360 meeting, and actually went to the conference this a couple of months ago, and I was able to attend. Raina Park Shaw, Councilwoman Park Shaw, attends every Thursday. She is super excited to have been able to get the dollars to move forward with giving money to those social service organizations to see what more of an impact we can make. So as the neighborhood initiative, we are getting, the nonprofit organizations are coming to me and say, okay, Marquita, what do you need? The city of Kansas City, Missouri we've had 2 cleanups, and these aren't your standard cleanups. These are the type where they're going around the sides of the houses, bringing the stuff out for the neighbors, and the city trucks are right there to pick it up. So it's that detailed, it's that involved, and it takes up manpower, and it takes the city's cooperation. And I'm gonna tell you, Michael Shaw's office has been phenomenal in making that happen. But that's just one piece. Urban Rangers spent their whole summer in Santa Fe, cleaning, walking, helping neighbors, helped with our upcoming art gallery, just anything that I needed. Rockhurst will have people out. Aim for Peace is always present. Another group called Uncornered are working in special pockets where we may have crime. So there's a lot of organizations that you may not know are working. I tell them, please let me know if you're in Santa Fe, but there's a lot going on, and it's just great to be in this seat, you know.
So what's the difference between the 360 group and Partners for Peace? It sounds like Partners for Peace is doing the same thing. I think just the difference is they're after the fact. Is this group 360 before the fact?
Yes, I will say yes and no. Melissa, I believe I pronounced it right now.
Melissa
her
Johnson.
name right. She comes to the 360 meetings as well. Went to the conference. We're working very well together. Some of the same people attend both meetings. But yes, I think your summation is pretty accurate. The after effects from what I've attended some of her meetings too is we've got this situation, who's going to be on target? Who's going to work on it? And she comes from the city's perspective on making an impact. So I think it's a good mix of everybody. One of the things, the 360, we talk about who's serving in what capacity, who's serving in intervention, prevention, or, you know, the full scope of what's needed. So working very well together, and I think it's not a us or them, it's all of us together.
So how is the mayor embracing it outside of photo op?
Well, early on, you know, we gave a presentation to the city, and I was part of that. I'm always trying to be an advocate for the work, you know, social justice, community organizing. So I gave a presentation as well as some other neighborhood associations to say, we need these dollars. We need some of these dollars to come directly to neighborhoods. If they would consider us as a 501c3, which we are, give us dollars so we can make an impact in small dollar home repairs and those type of things. I had a neighbor who someone strong-arm burglary, busted her door down and started up the steps. She said, get out of my house. He continued to come on up the steps. She happened to have a firearm, and he ran off. But her door was busted out. So I asked the room, can anybody here help us get some money to get her door fixed? And that led me to understand and know and to encourage the city and others and the mayor, give nonprofit organizations their own dollars so that we can help our neighbors do those things, especially if the social service organizations can't support ask like that. So the mayor and the city manager has been great. He's decided and they've approved dollars this pilot, dollars going directly to neighborhood associations, which I'm so happy about. We finally get an opportunity to help the neighbors with small things, but our major things. You know, I have neighbors who had raccoons and they couldn't get up to their top floor. How do we get someone to get rid of the raccoons and to seal up those holes and those kind of things? That's what we really need. So I appreciate the city and what they've done and how they've supported this effort.
Okay. And so this weekend you've got something going on.
You know, it's never a dull moment. We have a tremendous guy in our neighborhood who's an artist. Terrence Williams is a poet extraordinaire. He lives and breathes art. So he lives in Santa Fe, and he said, Marquita, how about we put up an art gallery in Santa Fe? And I said, an art gallery, Terrence? And I held him off for years because I just didn't see the vision. And then finally I said, you know what, I think we should do it. He's gotten together 16 artists who have created, and these are fabulous art that sits on the lots that Santa Fe owns at 2801 Benton. And it's beautiful work. So we said, we're going to have an opening. We're going to have an art opening. It'll be this Saturday, which I think is the 12th, at 5 in the afternoon, 5 in the evening, about 5 to 7. And we're inviting anybody and everybody. We'll have music, a band, and it's an outside art gallery. And they'll be selling their art. We'll have food and all these kind of things as an art gallery opening. But I want all my neighbors, homeowners, renters, outside people, anybody and everybody to come and just be a part of what's going on in Santa Fe. I'm asking certainly the mayor to attend, Councilwoman Robinson, our new 3rd District at Large, Melissa Patterson Hasley, who I absolutely love, and others to just come. Let's love on Santa Fe, and hopefully the neighbors will come love on Santa Fe too. And let's kind of enjoy that day. So it's Saturday, this coming Saturday, the 12th, from 5 to 7:30, 2801 Benton.
So right now there are, 4 or 5 pieces of art right there on Benton?
There are actually 10 right now.
Is it 10? Okay.
By the time we hope to have all 16 boards
Okay,
up,
yeah.
but we're going to have something really exciting this time for those who come. We're going to have paint and everything available for them to leave a mark on one of those boards that they were there. I thought it was a great idea. We just thought up yesterday, but I think it's a great idea for one of the boards that's still blank. And I want Terrence, whose idea of this, I have to give him credit for all of this. There's other neighborhoods that want this art now. So
Right.
it's going to travel to other neighborhoods.
Okay. Is there going to be room for stick people? Because I'm an expert in stick people art. I can't draw at all,
Yes.
not even remotely, but I can make a pretty decent stick person.
Yes, and when you make that stick person, put your name under it so we'll know it was yours.
No, I don't want to claim it. I stay in my lane. But listen, it's been a pleasure having you and learning more about Santa Fe and all the things that you're involved in. It would be remiss if we didn't say that Santa Fe has become one of the most prolific neighborhood associations in our community under your leadership. I know for a while all we heard about was Ivanhoe, and then Oak Park came up, but now you have made sure that Santa Fe has been on the maps as some place to go and see in Kansas City, and I commend you for that.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you very much.
That was Marquita Taylor, and she was our guest today on One-on-One with Swope Health. I'm your host, Eric Wesson. As always, remember, I have the greatest audience in the world. Till next week, remember, tough times don't last. Tough people do. Until next week, peace.